Right, welcome back. Thank you to the absolute lovely gentleman, former professional baller Rowan Ricketts for that very long, enjoyable chat this evening on this latest second part of the Fancast pre-match. I've got Kim, Jordan, and the newest addition to the Wolves Fancast. We've got Dan Butler at D Butler Analysis. How you going, guys? How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thank you for having me on.
Nice episode to join on the back of Wolves beating Brighton, your hometown. What did you make of the result on the weekend?
Yeah, well, it saved me a lot of stress, I think, because I'd have been hearing about it if we'd lost that one. Yeah, it's difficult to look too much into it because obviously they've had 10 men for a lot of the second half. But yeah, look, 3 points on the board, I guess.
See another 3 points further away from relegation, where a lot of the Fancastrians thought we might have been heading this summer, weren't they, Jordan? Well, let's quickly jump back to the Brighton game. Morgan Gibbs-White got the winner. What did you make of his performance, Jordan?
I said on Instagram Live, which was hosting with Luke and Russ on the weekend, that I thought it was a massive game for him. He's had a lot of unfair criticism, I think, in terms of all down to his social media stuff. Again, 20-year-old lad, do what you want to do, but if he's not doing it on the pitch, he's always going to have his faults and his haters, I guess. I thought he had his best game in the Wolves, best 90 minutes in the Wolves match in the Wolves game for me. On the wing, he's not a winger. And the first half, I think he was let out to dry a little bit, but he still had a few nice touches and drawing up the play quite nicely. What really changed the game really was Traore coming on and moving Morgan Gibbs-White into a more central role. And for me, I think he was man of the match. And yeah, I know he missed quite an easy opportunity, as it were, but you can't take anything away from the winner. He's really composed and put it in the top bin. So yeah, I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, a lot of unjust flack for the lad. I'd hate for people to judge me on my MySpace account back when I was 20. Who stood out for you, Kim, in that win over Brighton?
I mean, obviously Morgan Gibbs-White. I think even before his goal, to be honest, and obviously the chance he missed as well wasn't great. But I think his overall play was very good, especially when he dropped into his natural sort of position, just behind the striker. I suppose other than that, Traore when he came on was great. Really sort of took the game to them then, and they really were stretched. So I think at that point, we were playing well, but we weren't creating chances. And I think when he came on, he really took the game to Brighton. Other than that, I'd say just generally, I thought the younger players who came in really did well. I thought Ait Nouri did really well, had a great game, and I'd definitely sign him. Vitinha, again, I thought did well as well. Personally, I think, again, just that little bit of creativity, the ball through to Silva when he was clean through and took him down. Again, Vitinha sort of, coming up with a creative spark. And I think a lot of the older, experienced players in terms of like Neves, Martini, I think, and Cody, actually, I think they need to sort of step up because I think they're the ones that have been sort of having below par sort of average performances over the last few games.
Yeah, as I said, important win. Hopefully give us a bit of momentum going into next season. I thought the regen Vicente Lizarazu was the standout player for me on Sunday. I think he's an absolute baller of a left back, and hopefully Johnny will come back, but it'll be difficult for him to oust the young lad if he keeps continuing on the progress that he's currently on. This week we're heading to North London against former European Super League competitors Tottenham Hotspur. What's our sort of thoughts going into that game? Jordan, obviously we drew 1-1 earlier in the season. I think we were unlucky not to win it in the end. I think Fabio Silva missed a good chance in the end. What's your sort of feelings going into that, and what's your betting suggestions via our friends at Boyle Sports?
Yes, I think it's going to be quite an open game, really. I think that both clubs haven't really got a lot to play for in terms of, competing for European football. And Ryan Mason at the moment going in on a temporary basis is obviously trying to make a bit of a stamp. on the roll. So I think that he's going to be looking to play attacking adventurous football and almost got free hit at it. Likewise, I think we know sort of the way and the pattern that we like to play, and we like to play on the counter attack. But I think it's going to be a really open game. So in terms of my prediction for the weekend and my betting tip with our sponsor Ball Sports, I'm going for Son first goal scorer, and it to be a 2-2 draw at 70-1. So Son to score first, 2-2 at 70-1 is what I'm going with.
Any sort of other? Well, we know you're not a massive positive Wolves fan at the moment, Jordan. Have you got anything Wolves bet themed that our supporters can bet on?
Honestly, you're going to get me lynched next time I go down to the Molyneux. No, for me, I'm carrying on with the Morgan Gibbs White hype train. I think the goal's going to give him even more confidence as well. So if you want a bit of a bet builder and something a little bit outside the box, I'm going for Morgan Gibbs White to score any time, over 3.5 goals in the game, and the match finishes a draw, and you can get that at 33-1.
33-1. Another nice tidy evening. Dan, your first sort of episode, giving you betting suggestions. I hope you're not a gambling addict and we've just forced you into this conversation. Where would your money be going into this game on the weekend?
I think I agree with what's been said, sort of thing. Really, I think I can see quite an open game. I don't think they've really got much, or they've not established an identity under Ryan Mason quite yet. That's fair enough. Obviously, he's only been there a couple of games still. I think it'll be a draw as well, like Jordan said. But I think unless Connor Cody wakes up Sunday morning and he's 6'5", we're gonna have the exact same problems dealing with set pieces. So I've got Alderweireld to score any time and the game to finish a draw at 66-1.
Nice odds there. 66-1. Obviously, we did struggle the weekend dealing with set pieces, specifically on corners with everyone's favourite zonal marking. Kim, what's your feelings going into the game down at North London? Obviously, I don't think we've really predicted a strong bet for our viewers yet as such, but this is the bet that I'm sure is going to be the one that wins our viewers some money. What's that?
Well, I can see quite an open game. I think I agree with you guys. I think obviously now with Spurs seem to be more of an attacking threat as opposed to when they were previously under Mourinho. And we do look like, depending on the team selection, I think we do look like we've got a goal in us. So I've got two bets. One is saying what my head says, and one is what my heart says. So my head says Spurs to win, Bale first goal scorer, and over 2.5 goals, which is 13-2 with Ball Sports. Or, bit more of a punt, you've got Wolves to win, Fabio to score 2+ goals, and over 2.5 at 33-1. Now, I always predict Fabio to score, and I think every time I haven't predicted him to score, he has. And every time I have, he hasn't. So maybe this one's a lucky one.
Or a continued theme. Let's see. As always, I'm the one who's going to win the viewers the money with my standard bet small, win big tip. My bet is it's going to be an open game. We all know that. Neither team are very good defensively. I'm going Adama Traore to score the first goal, both teams to score in the first half, and the draw 100-1. Bet small, win big. Treat yourself on me. Let's quickly jump to game week 36 of the Fantasy Premier League. Looks like I'm going to be owing Kim £20 come the end of the season because she's pretty much done and dusted in terms of who's going to finish above the other. Jordan, I don't even know where he is. I can't even see him in my rear view mirror anymore. I think he might have quit Fantasy Premier League. Dan, how have you fared this season at the Fantasy Premier League? What's your team name and how have you fared points-wise?
Do you know what? I started off slow, and then was sort of during the middle phase of the season was doing quite well. I'd sort of managed to get myself into the top 30k or so, and then I think I wildcarded a couple of weeks ago, and it's all fallen apart. So it's a bit of a rebuild job at the minute. And a couple of money leagues I'm in, I'm having to try and restore a bit of pride as well after that. So I'm having to play it a little bit safe, I think, this weekend. I think Salah's got the Albion away from home, and he looks a pretty good captaincy option.
Where's your captaincy armbands going this week, Kim and Jordan? I'll come to you first, Jordan.
Going with Salah as well. I think in terms of, I just think it's like you say. I'm playing for pre-season now. This is my mini pre-season. I'm bringing a couple players in. I'm having a look at them for next season. There's a couple who have brought in and have worked wonders. And my little tip for next season for everyone is to bring in Kai Havertz because he's going places. He started to hit a bit of form, and he's my pick for next season as the star boy. But yeah, for this weekend, definitely going with Mo Salah as captain.
Jordan, you did have you were pretty high in the Fancast league. What do you feel was the turning point? Was it the double week with the Albion and Burnley defenders, or was there anything else that stood out for you?
Burnley, definitely.
Oh, yeah. So for anyone who didn't know, I had a wild card in. I went Pope, Tarkowski, and Loughton. And then I also brought in Semi Ajayi for a 3-game wonder when Big Sam come in. That's where it all fell, though. Over to be honest with you, my decline in form actually when it coincided with Wolves' decline in form. I was in the top 12,000 up until October, and then it all went to shit. To be honest with you, so yeah, I don't even know where I am now. It scares me to even look at the app. I wouldn't look if I wasn't doing this. Honestly, it just broke me.
So yeah, Dan and Jordan are going with looks like Salah as their captaincy. Where's your captaincy armband going this weekend, Kim?
So if I had Salah, which I don't, I probably wouldn't captain him actually because I think he'll get rested this week. I think because they've got Burnley 2 days after West Brom, I think it's his turn to be on the bench. So I will be going Kane captain just because I need to keep my rank as it is, i.e. I'm going for top 100k. I'm sorry, but it's got to be Kane or secondary Son. Other than that, obviously Liverpool players, but I don't trust Jota at the moment, even against West Brom. So, yeah.
I'd absolutely bloody love it if Conor Cowley keeps out your captaincy on the back of that attitude. Carry on.
That's FPL shit out. That is proper.
I'll remind you of this conversation after the game. Nat Phillips is a good shout at 4.0 for the rest of the season because it looks like he's going to carry on starting, and they've got West Brom. Liverpool have got West Brom, Burnley, and Palace in the next 3. So that's a good cheap tip. Or Leeds players, they've got Burnley, Southampton, and West Brom in their last 3. So Dallas looks a good shout. I wish I'd have kept him now, and obviously Rafinha and Bamford. So
I think we're probably all of the same agreement that Man United and Man City players are very heavy risk at the moment with Europa League and Champions League finals coming up. My captaincy choice this week will be Dominic Calvert-Lewin at home to Sheffield United. I think he's bound to score against them. I think he used to play for Sheffield United. It's written in the stars. Jordan and Dan, I'll come to Dan first because I prefer the name better. Who's your differential this week?
Yeah, it's funny actually. Kim mentioned him in passing there, but I would have gone for Rafinha. He's just back from injury. I think they're playing Burnley away from home in the early kickoff on Saturday, and then they've got a good run of fixtures to end the season as well. He looks like a pretty good punt. I think he's quite like 5% owned, something like that as well. So yeah.
Who's your bargain basket purchase this week, Jordan?
So I actually made a transfer and brought him in as well. So I brought him in just for this week and for the end of the season. I brought in Eberici Eze from Palace. So they've got a home game against the Villa. I think the Villa are struggling without Grealish. Watkins might be suspended as well, I think. So they're going to be pretty shit. And I think that actually me laughing off that we could catch Villa about 6 weeks ago with you, Dan, is going to possibly bite me in the arse, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Don't give this one down here, wherever she is. I think she was the only one who actually predicted we could actually catch him. I thought it was a bit far-fetched, but here we are. The Villa are on the ropes, and that gap is becoming very, very short.
I can
Would you
see us
gloat
not
on Tim
actually
or?
picking up loads of points. No, I can see us not picking up loads of points, but I think Villa are just on the downward spiral and they'll just probably lose their last three, to be honest. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. As you saw on the socials this week, we announced news that this coming Bank Holiday Monday will be playing a charity match at Molineux against the likes of opponents from Talking Wolves, Dazzling Dave, Manny, Wandering Wolf. The list is growing day by day. Keep on the socials for more news on that. Hopefully, we'll be able to get some of you in the stadium. At the moment, there's restricted capacity due to COVID-19, but hopefully you can help us donate into our official charity for this event, which is Mind, the mental health charity. Anything else, guys, you want to discuss before we go? Obviously, we've just there was an Instagram live last night with Luke, Stu, Adam Price, and Emoji Russ discussing Man United ticket price and ballot system. What's your opinion on that? Did any of you three apply or?
I applied. I applied just to see if I get a ticket. To be honest with you, got priority 3. I wasn't that arsed in going, but I thought, well, if it was priority 1, I'd probably buy a ticket. As soon as the ticket price come out, just not for me. To be honest with you, I know people who like yourself, Dan, who bought a ticket and want to go. Absolutely fair enough. But I think everything's got its price, and for a lot of Wolves fans, I think that they feel like it is a bit too much. Like I say, I understand why people want to go. I understand why people want to not go, and people, protesting might be a bit stretched too far for me. But ultimately, if they sell the 4,500 tickets, they could charge 100 quid if people are going to buy them, and that's just the way of life. It's all about supply and demand. So, yeah, I'm disappointed about it. Do I think anything's going to change? Not at all.
Dan, obviously a long jaunt from you down south. If a protest did occur, would you support it?
It might be a report supporting from me from down here, but I think what the guys have said so far about it pretty much spot on. I think the club have just missed a trick, really. I think if we remember when the Super League stuff started up, we got a really strong statement from the club about sort of the integrity of the pyramid and these things, and I don't know if we were sort of lulled into a false sense of security about whose side the honours were on, maybe. And it leaves a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth when they're pulling this sort of stunt. They had a chance to show that they were committed to being on the side of the fans, and instead here we are looking at 45 quid a ticket for a nothing game. I don't know what else to say, really.
Kim, obviously you've made yourself very clear within the WhatsApp group, trying to instigate protests, just calling Jeff Shee all the names under the sun. What's your real thoughts on the situation? Was there ever a desire for you to apply and get a ticket, or was it a dead rubber game for you?
Well, obviously, I can talk about this subject all night, so I'll try and keep it a bit short. But I think for me, it's the principle of not the fact that you couldn't afford, people can't afford it. There will be some people who can't afford it, but what I'm trying to say is the value of that ticket is not worth 45 quid. One, it's a nothing game. Neither team's playing for anything. 2, Man United will play their reserve team because they're in the Europa League final. 3, we've just come out of a pandemic. And 4, 170k or whatever it is, if they make that, if they sell the 4,500 tickets, it's nothing to Wolves, because that's not going to change their transfer budget. So I think I wasn't expecting that it should be, like Burnley, where we're giving away tickets. I just think the value of the ticket is around 25, 30 max, 20 to 30 quid. And I think no one would bat an eyelid. But unfortunately, there is people who will buy the tickets, and we will sell 4,500 tickets, I'm pretty sure. So they'll continue to do it. Season ticket prices will go up, and that's the issue now. We've got 14,000 people. Is it 14,000 people on a waiting list? however many. So even if people decide to say no, that enough's enough, there's always going to be someone to come in. So it's one of those. I've calmed down about it a little bit from last night because I was never going to probably go anyway because I want to go back to the stadium when stadiums are full. But I just think, yeah, the whole principle, of paying that much money doesn't sit well with me.
Is a person who's willing to spend £45 a mug, Jordan?
No, I don't necessarily think there's a mug. I think there's on social media. There's a lot of people who are calling people out for wanting to go. Like I say, everything's got its price, and I'm sure that if tickets were £100, they'd sell the 4,500. If tickets were £100 a person, we'd all moan and complain. But I'm telling you now, they'd sell out Molyneux. They still would. It's just the way. It's just the nature of the beast. And I think that the sooner that fans come around to the idea that we're no longer the local fan and we're now a consumer, that's the way that Fosun are going to operate. They're a massive, multi-international, successful business, and the reality is they don't care if someone who's sitting in the South Bank's got a WV or a DY postcode. They could come from China, USA, Canada, and that's absolutely fine to have international fans. That's just the nature of the beast of becoming a bigger brand and a bigger club. But they don't care about filling the seats with local fans, and you see that with fans of like Man United, Liverpool, your Chelsea's, who are complaining that it's now become touristy and the prawn sandwich brigade. And with success, it's only going to happen even more and more for me. So it's almost like careful what you wish for, I think, in that sort of aspect.
Yeah, I think every football fan across the UK, when certain statements came out from the Shameful Six in regards to being called legacy fans, was very, very upsetting to read. But on paper, that's what we are to them, isn't it? It's just a legacy fan is a mug that's willing to keep paying what they want to charge until the fans say enough's enough. And I'm not sure when that will come, because football means a lot to certain people. It's a passion for some, not just a hobby. I've come to the conclusion that I don't really want to be paying £45, but it's an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. I've been without football match day experiences for over a year now, saving the money that I've saved, not going home in a way is built up. If I can't afford an extra £10 above the face value ticket, then what am I really spending my money on? I'm happy to go. I'm glad to have the opportunity. I still think Wolves have the opportunity to improve on this situation that they've allowed to happen in regards to the overcharging a ticket. I hope something can be done, not necessarily from a financial point of view, but if this is the route that they're going to go down in the long run, the fans want to see players of that calibre of their hard-earned cash. Any other opinions on that?
No, I think it's spot on, really. We £45 a ticket puts you in the levels of what you'd pay for a ticket at, the big six, as it were. And I think that, put it like this, first game of the season, next season in the year, we got Man City at home. Wolves charge £60 a ticket. It's full capacity, no restrictions. We'd sell out. But that's because there's enough people who would pay that. But like you say, the way the season's gone as well is a big factor. People are bored of the football, and again, we've spoke about it on the podcast and stuff of the reasons why that. And there are factors as to why the football hasn't been as good this year. But I think for the club to be charging the most of a charge for tickets in a nothing game with a team that isn't really performing to the levels that you'd expect them to be. I just don't think the value for money is there at £45 a ticket, and 20 to 30 quid would have been enough. But if anyone wants to come watch our charity game, it's a tenner.
I think
wait until you see the prices for that, Jordan. I don't think it's going to be a tenner.
Okay, there might be more protests on Bank Holiday Monday. Fuck you now.
Another point about this though is that Wolverhampton doesn't have the money. People don't have the money that your London teams have. So almost comparing that with the fact that we aren't anywhere near as good, for a sustained period, we haven't been anywhere near as good as your Chelsea's, your Arsenal's, your Tottenham's. everything's more expensive in London anyway, and people are paid more. But then, in Wolverhampton, it's just not the case. So my point is not just about Wolves either. It's about, like, Villa are charging the same, aren't they? Apparently, they're charging 50 quid as well. So although obviously it's more annoying because it's the team we support, I just generally think it's a bit of an issue because it's just not right, is it? It's not right for people to charge that much. Even Tottenham, they're charging like 65 quid. Given the pandemic we're just coming out of, I think they just could have been a bit more, fair on pricing.
Is there no sort of reasoning to the fact that Wolves were one of a handful of clubs that furloughed all their staff with full pay for as long as they did? Does the fact that they're multi-billionaires mean that they have to charge less? What's your opinions on that, Dan?
I don't know whether the finances of Fosun themselves should affect how much we're paying. I'd say on a slightly different tangent, I think the most disappointing thing I've seen so far is there's been quite a lot of posturing on social media about this whole thing, and I think there's probably a majority of people who don't agree with it. But I think the more disappointing thing has been people who are happy to pay it, which is absolutely fine, either digging people out who don't want to or taking people to task on other points to do with not being able to pay it. And I just think, as Kim rightly said, Wolverhampton and London, totally different places, totally different people, and people on different amount of money and resources to be able to get to games. Just, I don't know, it feels a little bit like, again, going back to the Super League thing, the strand that ran through that was that ultimately those owners didn't care whether it was local fans or it wasn't. And the clubs who weren't part of the Breakaway Six were supposed to be showing this united front that they do care about their local fans and they do care about the history of the club and stuff like that. And ultimately, this has shown the complete opposite. And that's, to me, one of the most disappointing parts about it, really.
I'm just going to quickly just put you three all on the spot with just a quick figure. When is enough from a financial point of view?
It's one of those, isn't it, really? Like sort of said again, it's that if you're looking at it from a purely business model, supply and demand, like we've got over 750,000 Twitter followers on social media worldwide. Let's just say I've got 750,000 fans worldwide. It probably is more than that. They know every week they need to fill the stadium with 26,000 fans. So that price point is going to just keep going up and up and up until there is a bubble burst. And this is where you look at, sort of the foreign leagues where we've such envy, like the Bundesliga and the German clubs. They've got it spot on, like 20 quid, 20's plenty. And, they're watching, Bayern Munich, their season tickets, you get season ticket for less than 200 quid for an adult. And like you compare that to like Arsenal and Tottenham's where they spend, charging over $1,000 for a season ticket. I know we're not there yet, but I can see within the next sort of 5 years, Wolves trying to get to those levels of, £1,000 a season ticket. And again, what's going to happen is how they'll see it at the minute is those season ticket prices will carry on going up and up because they've got over 10,000 fans on a waiting list. I think there's 18,000 season ticket holders at the club at the moment. They'll just keep swapping them out because if people drop out, like Kim said, I don't want my season ticket anymore, it's too much. Joe Bloggs will have it instead on the waiting list. So that's where the problem is at the minute. The Fosun are seeing Wolves as a club. It's never been as good. There's a massive buzz around the club, or at least there was until this season where it's died off a little bit. They just see it as we've got 14,000 people waiting in the wings to come and fill one of those seats if you don't want to. So quite frankly, they're going to think tough shit. So I don't think it's going to be enough to make a dent in it really by a few fans saying I'm not going or I'm not willing to pay that because the prices, season tickets, that email's coming out soon, and I think it'll come out the same time as the Man United ticket prices if it wouldn't go down like such a fucking shit basically. So they're going to come down, and I can guarantee you that ticket cash they've kept from everyone. That's going to be your season ticket price increase. It's just going to be swallowed up for a season. They'll be recognising that money, and you won't get that back.
Anyone
Do you know
else?
what the sad thing is? That
You from the jury court, and you're telling me about people from Wolverhampton being able to spend money. That's a sad thing, yeah.
no, this is quite a serious point actually. That when you said when is enough, sadly, I would probably never stop going until I physically couldn't afford it, and that's quite sad because I think a lot of fans are that attached to going and watching Wolves that until you physically can't afford to go anymore, that you'd moan about it like I have now. And obviously, yeah, this is different because it's a one-off game and I haven't been all season, so I've kind of just written it off. But next season, there will be a price increase. I'm pretty sure of it. And a lot of people will moan. I'll moan, but I'll still pay it. Until we get to like I don't know if Jordan's right and we have to start paying $1,000 in like 5 seasons time, then you might have to think, is this just getting stupid now? I can't see, us ever paying $1,000 for a season ticket in Wolverhampton personally. I just can't see it unless we suddenly become Man City overnight.
What happened is,
Man City's are they? $1,000 season ticket.
But what I'm trying to say is sort of what Dan alluded to earlier, that how they're viewing us at the minute is they're not comparing what are Albion charging to Villa charging to what Blues are charging. They're basically comparing us to the Premier League, and there's obviously been a gap analysis of what the cost is, and that's how they're pricing it. So if Fosun believe we're going to be competing for the Champions League within, when they come over, when they took us over in 10 years, I truly believe that they're going to start modelling everything on these Champions League clubs or European clubs where, and they're all charging $1,000 a season to get Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. I know Man City aren't, but theirs is going up all the time. And I just think that those prices are coming, unfortunately. And if you don't like it, someone else pay it. That's just literally it.
Thanks for viewing and listening, everyone. You can catch our Instagram live still on our IGTV section of at Wolves Fancast. Dan released an article earlier on this week on the Wolves Fancast website. Do you want to give everyone just a brief rundown of what that was involved, Dan?
Yeah, it's just sort of taking a look through the data and trying to sort of pluck 5 names from European, sort of the top 5 European leagues. We could probably partner Neves in midfield next season. Sort of looking at where we've been going wrong this season and sort of the profile of player we might need next year. I know there's been some talk about Neves not being here, but I think he'll be absolutely fine. But I think it's more likely that Moutinho has moved on because of his age and still not sold on Dendoncker. So, I thought it was worth having a look at sort of what kind of midfielder can take us to the next level.
Cool. So as I said, you can catch that at the Wolves Fancast website and Dan's social media page at D Butler Analysis on Twitter. Guys, thanks for coming on again this evening. We'll be back again next week to discuss hopefully Wolves win at Tottenham and the upcoming game against the Toffees Everton. Bye-bye for now.